You're listening to the Jaybird Watching Podcast, the official podcast of jaysjournal.com and Fansided.com. We are the official ballroom chat for everything Toronto Blue Jays baseball, from game highlights to rumors and all the stuff in between. Here's your host, Craig Borden, with co-host Jason Lyons and Liz McGuire. Now let's talk some Toronto Blue Jays baseball.
Good evening, Blue Jays fans, to a full house here on the Jaybird Watching Podcast. As you all see, we have a whole collective here that we're going to have fun with and talking some baseball in general this evening. With me, as usual, Liz, Jason, how the heck are you?
I'm good, man. I don't know. As much as I try to stay out of the winter gossip, I find myself drawn back into it. What with the precipice of winter meetings, what will happen there? Honestly, probably nothing.
Yeah, probably.
You're backing the truck up for Juan Soto, is what I'm hearing. That's all I hear.
No, extend Vladdy. Extend Vladdy.
Extend Vladdy.
Yeah, that's
100%
first.
Extend Vladdy. Jason, how the heck are you, buddy?
Dude, good. You know, I talked to some friends in Ontario and some other places in Canada today, and it is not good weather-wise other places in this fine country of ours. Apparently, Vaughan, Ontario is getting like 4 feet of snow right now. So we have a small fog warning here, if anyone cares. The fog warning keeps going. But yeah, I mean, excited to talk. Like obviously I have kids who play youth baseball and are coming up in the Twins organization. We're lucky enough to make Winter Twins this year. And the two guys that we've got on here on the young side of things, are going to talk about that. And then the handsome devil below me can talk about some other stuff.
So on that, let's talk about the handsome devil first. So Simon Pond, former Blue Jay, Canadian Olympian. How the heck are you, man?
Yeah, man, I'm good. So happy to be here, man. Thanks for the invite, Jason. That's awesome.
Yeah. So pleasure having you. And the other two fine gentlemen here with us this evening. Finn, I'm sorry I didn't catch your last name before the show. And Hoshin. Okay. So Finn Hoshin, and then Xander, I'm going to butcher the last name. I apologize. Is it good? Yeah, okay. There you go, guys. How you doing?
That's why I'm here.
Yeah, doing great. Excited for this to share, what's going on here in BC with baseball.
Yep. Xander, how about yourself, bud?
As well. Stoked to be here.
Yep. So let's dive into it, fellas. You guys were in the Toronto Blue Jays Youth Prospect Showcase. Correct me if I'm wrong. So how was that kind of a trip?
So you got that.
So they kind of just got, base of it, top 150 people across Canada, a bunch of kids my age, year younger, year older. But they had tryouts all over the country. For here in BC, they had 2. They also, over in Quebec, Newfoundland, I'm sure everywhere. Then you can also, they announced the first 70 names up front. You get invited back to a second tryout so they can take a deeper look at you, figure out all the names and stuff. And their guys even come out to a few just, games around the province, tournaments. I saw them up in Fort McMurray when we were with Team BC, as well as Kamloops. So it's not just a one and done tryout. It's kind of like a year round. They got eyes on you all the time. So it's not a one and done. They get it good.
Gotcha.
I think one of the big things. One of the big things is I think what Xander's saying is that the baseball in Canada is thriving right now, and awesome. I mean Finn and Xander are examples of a much different lens that they're looking at these kids at. Like Finn can talk to this a little bit. Finn, I mean, Finn has had, how many times have you been hurt, buddy? Like, I mean.
No.
Like this kid is the Sammy Salo of baseball players. Like he sneezes and he blows his L3 out. Like, I mean, he's, but that being said, he's also
unfortunately part of the game too.
Yeah. He's been able to take these showcases and these availabilities that he's had and been able to turn it into this. So Finn, why don't you talk a little bit about, just sort of the injuries that you have dealt with, how you're feeling now and how,
Yeah, so I won't go super deep into it because I could probably talk an hour about the things that happened to me. But I hurt my knee a couple times, kind of like they were related, but they happened different ways. And I got back this year, got hurt again, missed the whole season. I came back during Canada Cup, so that was our Team BC, and lucky enough, we had a coach on the team who knew me because no one really knew me before because I hadn't played, and he vouched for me to get on the team, and that was great. And that was kind of the turning point for me. You know, I got an opportunity, and you know, I got to play, and it was amazing. And one thing came after another, and it all worked out.
So cool.
So I have to ask, because Simon, obviously you went through a lot of this same stuff when in your youth, when you were coming up through school and everything. What was the scene like compared to what these two guys are going through right now?
Dude, I don't even know what they're talking about, man. It's totally different. Like, it's totally different. Like, yeah, it was totally different. I don't know what to say. There's none of that stuff, like the going away and the 150 whatevers and flying to Toronto, like none of that stuff. It was like, I don't know what to say, man. Like, I don't know when the drafts came in. So I don't know if it was there in like 92. I don't know. I was drafted in 94, and Ryan Dempster was on the team, and he was like, he's born in 77. I'm born in 76, and Ryan Dempster drew a lot of attention. But yeah, so like we got scouted and stuff when we go down to Washington and play our games down there. But there was like a handful of scouts that knew us. But basically, like I didn't really like get on the scene until like 94 was the year I got drafted. And it wasn't until like February of that year that we had I don't know if they still have the Major League Scouting Bureau. It's a guy the guy's name was Tom Volk, and he would write reports for every organization. And it wasn't until we went to that thing in February, and he was like, man, like Corey Koski was another guy that was there. And I forget who else, probably Kevin Nicholson, guys like that. But Kevin Nicholson was a first rounder. But yeah, I wasn't really like, I mean, you know, when you're 15 years old, you'd get carded and stuff like that. Like they just take your height and your number and all that stuff. But it's nothing like this stuff, man. I don't know.
I feel like
to the credit of what you mentioned, the MLB Scouting Bureau apparently is no longer a thing as of 2014. So it's evolved into something new.
In Simon's time, you wouldn't know who's hot. You could be like the hottest thing, and you'd have to wait till like the news comes out, or there's something like now on Twitter, people are uploading highlight reels all the time. Like you can kind of see people show off, but it's like it's so funny that like
I flew so under the radar. I didn't say anything. Like there was. Yeah, I never said anything. It was until like I got until I graduated. They did an announcement over the PA about I got drafted by the Expos or whatever. But it was like no one knew, like there's no high school baseball team. Like no one cared. Mm-hmm. It was like, oh, this kid's 6'3", he can dunk. Let's talk about that guy.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, these two gentlemen, Jason sent me your guys' prospect page before we even went on the show to Liz and I over our group chat for the podcast, and you guys have Twitter videos and whatnot that have pictures of your beautiful swing and everything at this point. So that's really cool that you get that vast difference in being able to get seen and be able to turn yourselves into what clearly is some of the top players in Canada at this point. So what do you guys think of as how you went from just loving the game and T-ball like we kind of talked about in the pre-show here to getting to where you're getting now, and how did you find yourselves and love the game?
Well, I played T-ball with my cousin, and I think like he was my best buddy at the time, and that is what like made me really like it. I don't even think it was the game. It was just like hanging out with him. And then I realized when I was like 7 or 8 and we were hitting off that blue pitching machine, I could, you hit the ball far one every 50 times. You're like, damn, that felt really good. And then ever since then, that's when I started loving it. And I haven't stopped loving it since.
Yeah. Xander, was it a similar story, or did you have something else that really drew you to the game?
More similar. Yeah. Up until about 12 playing Little League, I played down at Mount Seymour. It was kind of just about, loving the game, chilling with your buddies. But as soon as I got into the Twins program in grade 8, I kind of looked deeper into, what like alumni come from the Twins and kind of compare, I guess. Comparison's a big thing for me. See what like their path was and see like, I'm in that position. I can do that too. So then it kind of flipped the switch in my brain ever since then, working hard, seeing where I can get, still early on the path. So.
Yeah, I think that these guys are both, and I think these guys are underselling the Twins organization and the PBL on whole. I feel like as leagues go, it does a massive amount for the kids, not only recognition wise, but even, like my boys are in a session tonight with Finn. You're there too, aren't you, Xander?
Yeah.
The same time. So you've got 13-year-old kids training with, 15 to 17-year-old monsters that are hitting the ball 400 feet. And they just they love it. They just soak it all in. And it's so cool to watch them, and this is a credit to not only the Twins program, but the kids that go through it. Like Finn and Xander talk to my kids and all of the kids that are involved like their peers. And I think that's the big thing that this has created, that, if you aren't involved in programs like this and you're in the Lower Mainland, or if you're anywhere in BC, or, I know we've got pretty big reach for this thing. So wherever you are, get involved. Go out and go to these extra things. There's nothing bad comes of extra baseball.
Yeah. I remember growing up, you guys sound like you have that just a solid core of a community around you, and what Jason's talking about with the fact that you do have all the youngsters training alongside you. Some of my favorite memories getting into baseball and everything we're just being at the baseball field all the time. There's 12 fields, about 5-minute bike ride from my house. If I wasn't playing a game, I was helping out with the youngsters. I was umpiring. It was all those things. I just lived at the baseball field, and that ended up being for me all the way to through college, and to the point where I had to choose between trying to be a independent baseball league person or eventually becoming an engineer like I am today. So unfortunately, I lost it then. So those kind of things, I can see why you've grown into where you are right now when you have that kind of support structure and just a love for the game to be around it all the time like that. Is there anything you guys want to add as far as those pieces to what got you to that point where you jumped from the Twins and everything to what you're doing right now?
No, I was just like your story about community and stuff. Like, I totally agree. Like, me and Xander have known each other since we were 10, 11. Yeah, we played together, not in Little League, but we played on a travel team together. And I think that was also like our first taste at like real baseball, where you face some of the kids in the States who are like 12 and they're already throwing 70 or whatever is fast at that age. And it's like, holy shit, like these guys are good, Yep.
Xander, you got anything to add to that, bud?
Even Jason just talking about the community, like even when you after you graduate grade 12 and you go into pro baseball, college baseball, a lot of the time in the off season, you still got guys coming back. Like you got Adam Meyer, all these guys coming into the facility just to help out, and you can talk to them, kind of just pick up on everything you can. They can talk about their experience as a Twins and the path to get to where they're at. So it's just the community is second to none. It's great.
And Simon, you're coaching right now, or you coach your daughters, don't you?
Yeah. I'm coaching softball.
Yeah.
It's a different beast.
Well, no, hold on. Let's preface this for a second.
It's always so different.
You guys can hit the ball 400 and they're in that high threes. You should see Simon hit a softball. We used to have to put our right fielder on another diamond just so he had a chance.
Seeing your numbers, man, I'm not surprised by that. So
you're holding a $500 stick of dynamite, man. It's a different deal.
Yeah.
So Simon, is what these we already talked about, that the baseball scene, it was vastly different. I assume when you were younger, there obviously was that baseball community that you latched into, but obviously for these two young gentlemen, it's grown into something completely different.
Nothing like this. That's no way. There's nothing.
Did you guys have travel ball?
No chance.
How did baseball find you?
Yeah.
Dude, I don't know, man. Well, it's funny because you guys are talking about the Twins and how good a program it was, but like the Twins was not a program, and until I don't know how to say this, but it's just the facts. Until like I'm the OG, man. Like I was drafted in '94, Ryan was drafted in '95, Chris Mears was drafted in '96 as a third rounder by the Mariners. I think he made it to the big leagues with Detroit. And we had guys drafted for like 6 years in a row at a time when like people just weren't drafted up here, So that's how I think we got on the radar. Anyway, how the Twins got on the radar. Yes. But all these guys, like you guys mentioned, what was the name? Aaron Myers? Adam Myers? Like, dude, I don't know who that is. I should know who that is, but I'm not in that community. I'm so removed from it all. I'm just like, I don't know. It's funny you guys talking about like baseball stuff and like come talk about Blue Jays. It's like, dude, I'm like trying to run a business. I'm trying to do jujitsu. I'm trying to go to the gym, brush my teeth, save money. Like, you want me to talk about the Jays, man? I don't know that much about them these days, man.
But as far as coaching your daughter, you mentioned is softball. Yeah. There's always just that you got to have the right people around. And Jason, you actually had a really good talk on a previous episode when we had Blue Jays back-to-back World Series champion Todd Stottlemyre was on this show a couple of weeks ago, and we had you and Todd, Jason, had a very intense talk about the ride home after a ball game. Talking with the family, just, on the way home on a good day or a bad day. I'm sure these, fine gentlemen can attest to that and how important that talk can be. If you want to enlighten
I think
everybody.
so. I mean, Simon can probably speak a little bit more on the flip side of it, but the gist of it was, I had to adjust my personality to allow for my children to grow in the car on the way home rather than me pounding the crap out of them for an hour drive home on what I thought they should be doing, not thinking about anything. And I mean, I know Xander's parents and I know Finn's parents. And I think that, Simon, you can talk to us a bit, but just the positivity of being able to, and you've been there, you've been in big games and lost big games, and you've probably expected more out of yourself in games and just been like, God, but how do you deal with it with the girls? Like,
oh, I don't put pressure on them. That was my deal and whatever. I'm just there to support them and hang out. But like that whole car ride home stuff, like, dude, I tell people about it that like I played at every level there is. And I really felt like there was a difference at the highest level, that the guys at the highest level were also the gentlest on themselves. And the guys at the lower levels would beat themselves up. Like guys out of college or whatever would be like, oh, I should have hit a bomb on that pitch. Can't believe it. That guy sucks. I should have this. I should have that. Whereas the big league guy's going to be like, man, just missed it. Or I took a good swing or whatever, just to have your back and like be as gentle on yourself as you can. That's kind of one thing I noticed for sure is that whole positivity thing is like, it's almost psychopathic. Like I remember hearing stories about Mark Kotze, who was the first pick overall, who had, the stories I heard, it was third person, but it was stuff around him like sucking and just being like, oh man, can you believe I just missed that? And the guy looked like crap, or Lenny Dykstra had reputation for having the same thing, like just walking around like he owned the place when he was like 0 for 14. And that contrast with like Billy Bean, he was roommates with Billy Bean, who was that big, first round stud and didn't pan out in the big leagues. But
yep.
Yeah, no, that's
GM though.
I have a question for Finn and Xander. What was it like at the Futures? You played at the Rogers Center, right?
Yeah.
What was it like playing on that field?
It's incredible. It's everything, like you hit the ball and with no one there, it just like echoes like crazy. It sounds like every ball you hit's like 100.
Sweet.
I mean, there were obviously scouts in the stands, but like I feel like when you're on that field, you're not worried about performing. You're just having so much fun out there that it's like you're just there playing baseball.
Were you guys swinging wood bats?
Yeah.
Even better.
I can remember hitting on the field in some circumstances like that, and they'd give us crappy balls, and they wouldn't go anywhere. So, like, they used to clean the balls.
Leftover fungo balls.
Yeah. So the balls would absolutely suck. You'd absolutely crush them, and they wouldn't go anywhere. But
when I was hitting BP. We had showcase day, and I was hitting BP, and I hit one over the bullpen, and it said like 95 EV, and I was like, come on, like that is not even possible. And then my second round, I was hitting like rubber, but I mean, some of the balls were great, some were less great, but it
worked in the extra practice balls your second round, huh?
Yeah.
And Sam, you're a pitcher, right?
Yeah, I'm a 2A, but at the Future Showcase, I was just PO.
And you had a pretty good appearance, didn't you?
It was okay. But it was one of the times like the showcase day, we did a little combine, I guess. We got our height, weight, broad jump, and all that sort of stuff. But then I had 2 days of just taking in the experience. They had a players lounge up top playing ping pong. They had Xboxes set up. So it was a lot of just, having fun, enjoying the moment. So.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to fast forward to maybe eventually your guys' possible future. Simon, I'm going to have to ask you what it was like making your major league debut for the Blue Jays in 2004 to give these guys something to work toward.
Oh, man, I'm not sure I'm the guy to talk to, man.
You got there. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah,
right?
you made it.
You had a hell of a minor league career.
Yeah,
and you were hot. I saw you a few times in the minor leagues here in Rochester, New York, when you were floating around the minors. So
really,
yes, that's where I am hometown. Right
man.
here where the Rochester Red Wings are.
Justin Morneau spent time there, I think.
Yep, a lot of Twinkies back in the day.
So yeah, it's funny when people ask me about like the first time and all that stuff. I actually did there's something online. I don't remember the name of the thing that did it, but it was an article on it, and it's exactly. Anyway, I'll tell it right here, and that is that it was almost like disappointing in how plain it was to play in the big leagues. It was like, what the heck? Because I had been in the minor. I signed at 17. It was 10 years later in 2000. So I signed in 1994. 2004 was my major league debut. Made the team out of spring. And it was like almost disappointing how plain it was. It was just like, what? Like there's no – I can remember running on the field to right field, and I was just like, you're running out to Skydome, and it's like at the time it was the old carpet, and I was just like, I don't know. It was just like
maybe that was the problem, was the carpet. You didn't get the grass on your major league debut. These guys are spoiled with the wonderful turf that they got in the Rogers Center now. I've been on that carpet before too. It's not
no, but the thing about it was how, like I said, how plain it was. So you contrast that to how it was. Like I signed at 17, and you go play rookie ball in the Gulf Coast League, which is the backfields of the spring training field. So no one's there. You're just out there playing ball. And then the next year when I was 18, I skipped short season A and made it to middle A. And I was a team with Vladimir Guerrero, senior. Javier Vasquez was a pitcher with the Yankees. Orlando Cabrera. I don't think he made the team actually. But anyway, there's a ton of like Brad Fulmer was on that team, a bunch of good players. Bob Henley.
Also a monster.
Yeah. So
Brad had a huge year for us.
So what I was going to say is like 18 years old. I'm in the South Atlantic League. I was the second youngest player next to Andrew Jones, who was in that league.
Jesus.
And I have never I played maybe a handful of games under the lights. And I also never played in front of a packed house. And this was a packed house in Albany, Georgia, of 3,000 people, not a huge stadium. But I was like super nervous and scared. And like the lights are on. And I was just like, you know, like as an athlete, when you are panicked, you're just not in control of yourself. And I can remember a line drive being hit right at me. I'd catch it, 10 out of 10 times. But I was not in control of myself. And it just went right by me. And I missed it. And I just remember like going like, oh my gosh, what did that just happen? And like hearing the crowd going like, oh, oh my gosh, this terrified set. Like I was 18 at the time, terrified 18-year-old, like, oh my gosh, I'm not in control of myself. And there was a base runner that was running around. He was on third base, and I'm like backing up like into him, like trying to like find a hole to like crawl in. And I was just not in control of myself. So it was like, that was an out of control experience for myself. And then can contrast that to like being comfortable and just like, okay, this is what we do. And then I'm in the big leagues and it's just like, I'm hardly even getting an adrenaline dump over, to speed the bat up a little bit. It was just like, it was weird how plain it was.
Yeah. But at that point you were ready for it then is the other catch too.
Totally.
All of grooming in the minor league seat and doing as well as you did in the minors. I'm not terribly shocked that it felt like I'm here to play and I'm here to win. It's that simple. And you played on a pretty good team there in 2004 to make your debut out of spring training.
Yeah, you're okay. I expected to do much better than I did, but it was funny. It was just like, if you look at the team at the time when I broke spring training, it was like, I remember Dave Berg was a bench player. And like one of the first games, he was like, okay, you ready? You ready? I'm like, yeah. He's like, this is what we do. Come sit next to me. This is the American League. We're going to come sit on the bench. And this is like, I was like, holy shit. Like, this is different. Like, I got to come off the bench now. This is, or I might pinch hit. Like in the minor leagues, you're an everyday player to develop, right? So just a different deal.
I think that's the hardest thing. And one of the things that Finn and Xander are both going to have to deal with, and they have to a point, but it's when you're the stud and then you walk in and everybody's a stud and you're like, oh, okay, there's lots of me, and then there's bigger than me. And there's, there's this guy and what's this guy doing? And, like it's, and like Finn was saying, like, we've done some travel ball down into the US and you come across some of these kids and you're like, how's that even possible? Like how is a 13-year-old, 6'4", 210, and he's throwing gas from 48 feet. And you're just like, I mean, I hope you don't peak at 13, but it's so, but Finn, Xander, you guys can speak to this a little bit. You guys are in grade 11, yes?
12.
Both 12?
Yep, getting ready.
So have you guys been getting offers? Have you been getting interest to commit to schools down in the US or in Canada?
Yeah, we've both been talking to a few schools, I think. I don't want to speak too much for Xander, but I think so, yeah.
Yeah. But there's the difference in visibility you guys are getting for the wonderful world that you've been able to, find yourself in here and do what you need to do, and getting those tours to Toronto and all these kind of cool things. You're going to get some eyeballs on you.
And these two are nerds too, so they've got really high GPAs.
Oh, I was going to ask you about
they are. They're both nerds.
Not a C student like I was hoping to get into a college.
No, not a strong C student. No, they're both. These guys are doing it the right way, and I think that's part of what we wanted to have them on for is there's a lot of. I sent this out to some people today, and so there's going to be a lot of your buddies and your peers that got to see this today, and that which is great.
There's 32 people live right now on the show. And it was at 1.50.
The big thing for me is that there's a lot of little kids that are going to look at this, and they're relying on you guys now at Twins to talk about this stuff, and just remember how cool those moments were at, going to that showcase and all the stuff you guys are doing, because you've got a trickle down effect with a bunch of kids who, and I mean, we went to Westerns last year. We've got good baseball players coming up behind you guys. And, I think that's part of it, is to get the exposure and get you guys, so people know who you are, and that we're producing good baseball players in BC.
Yeah. And on that note, gentlemen, I know we mentioned that we wouldn't tie you up too long here, but you are more than welcome to hang out. But I want to give you guys a chance to, rep your brand. Tell me, shameless self-promoting plug for your guys, baseball league here and what you're playing in, and give a shout out to some friends.
Go right ahead. First there, buddy. No.
Well, Xander's up.
There he is.
I'll shout out all the coaches that have, got me here and stuff.
Yeah, we got on a podcast. So go for it.
Yeah, I think. Oh shit! Sorry.
That's okay.
You're good.
You still going?
Go, man. Yeah, you're going.
All right. I was just gonna say, I think the PBL is great, and I think it gets overlooked a lot. Obviously, there's the CPBL out in Ontario, which is also amazing competition, but we got a lot of talent here, and I know scouts do come up, but it's not a lot.
Nothing like the States.
Yeah.
Do you guys believe in the adage, if you're good enough, they'll find you?
There's a certain extent to that. Obviously, Simon, that worked for you. If you're good enough, they'll find you. And for us, we've had chances to go play in Toronto, play at Canada Cup, where there are people to watch you. So it's if you get a chance, usually it's not like you're kind of hidden and they have to find you. But it's a good question. There needs to be work on both ends.
Yeah, for sure.
Good deal. Simon, seeing you happen to have a chance to talk to some young prospects, is there anything you would like to ask these two gentlemen?
Oh, dude, I feel like such a friggin' dinosaur. It's ridiculous.
Keep in mind, I'm older than you.
No, man, I don't even know. I don't know. I look at these kids playing today. Anytime I go watch stuff, I'm just so impressed with the level they're at. And the stuff that I was taught is not the stuff that's getting taught now. The stuff that's getting taught now is stuff that was we'd have to talk about it behind the cage in private. You couldn't, you know what I mean? It wasn't the thing that the hitting coach would be announcing in front of the team, in front of the spring training, or, this is how we're doing it, blah, blah, blah. It's no, at the time it was swing down, stay back, all this stuff, or, stay inside the ball, the usual stuff that's safe to say, but then you get behind closed doors and they're hit the bottom of the ball, all that stuff, get extension, get it out front, or I don't know. I can remember, coming back from the spring training because when I was at the Expos, I was going the other way a lot, shoving stuff the other way, and it was kind of inside outy. And then I started pulling the ball well, and I can remember them talking to me about one hitting coach in particular talking to me about using the whole field again and all this stuff. And then anyway, one of the guys was you know what, if you hit 20 jacks a year, who cares? Just pull it. It's kind of these things you have to be quiet about. Whereas now it was it just seems like it's out there. I will say, actually, So I went from the Expos. It depends on the organization. So the Indians, the Cleveland Indians, now the Guardians or whatever, they were ahead of the time. I always felt like they were just like next level. And so I actually went from the Expos, who was all about two-strike approach and hit the ball the other way, be a tough out, this National League hardcore, National League hard player stuff. And then I remember going in high A in Kinston, North Carolina. Dave Keller was the roving hitting guy. And we did this drill where he said, stay in there until you pull a ball on the ground. And I was like, I don't even understand what you're talking about. He's like, stay in there until if you pull a ball on the ground, that's bad. So I was like, you're saying I can launch balls to my full field and that's okay. I'm a left-handed hitter. And I'd be freaking blasting balls or even missing them and like hitting pop-ups. He's like, good. Get to the bottom of the ball clean. Like, good. And that's when things really took off for me anyway, was to like kind of unleash the beast, and like let it eat a little bit.
Yeah.
So
my favorite sayings that I heard from coaches back in the day were don't step in the bucket, get the piano off your back. Maybe that was just me. I have no idea. So
yeah, no, I can't even keep up with these guys, man. These kids have all the metrics. You're talking about EV. I know that's exit velocity, but that's like the extent of my like knowledge. Like, you said 95 is unbelievable. I'm like, is 95 high or is that low? I don't know what that is.
Good deal.
Yeah, it's amazing, Pondo. Like, I mean, I go down there now to IP and you see what these guys get as, as results and what they're able to see and just where the training tech has gone. And I mean, these kids know everything about their swing. They know their exit velos, they know their spin rates. And I mean, as a pitcher, Andrew, I'm sure that you've had your pitching analyzed, over and over and over again about, length of stride and spin rate and all these other things you can do to improve it. But
the thing but about that, like those mechanics, like, so you have launch angle, the ball comes off the bat, but I don't know if it takes into account backspin, because when guys have topspin, like the thing will not go.
Yeah, some of the machines don't. They just like calculate launch angle and how hard you hit it, and it's different for everyone.
Yeah, so like I totally would hit the ball anyway. I was good at getting backspin anyway, and getting balls to carry, and I know some guys would crush balls with topspin and they're not going anywhere. They're double at best.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So Jason, is there anything else you would like these two fine gentlemen to jump on before we
No, super proud of you too. Super proud of you too. I know that you guys were both nervous about this, and hopefully when you guys agree on find your colleges, we can have you back, and then we can keep doing this over and over again. Maybe get a couple more of your donkey friends on here, and just keep the train going, because this is the future. Like, we've got episodes coming up with non-Blue Jay players that have played with Blue Jay or have Blue Jay roots and stuff like that, and so you guys will always have Canadian roots, so we'll always bring you back.
Yeah. Well, we're the chat for everybody here. That's the whole point. So, we'll have guys like you on, and we'll have players, and we just want to have fun and talk about baseball stories here on the pod. So you guys get some new stories or anything, we're more than happy to have you here.
Well, I would like a future episode with the young lads to talk about baseball drip.
Yeah. Oh,
there
yeah.
You go. Got to have the fashion. It's not just the curved hat anymore, or the flat hat.
No, it's like
it's
all about the chains, the batting mittens.
The oven mitts.
Sliding mitts.
Good deal. So you guys are more than welcome to chit chat and stay, but we're gonna jump in here and talk with Simon on his career. All right.
All right. Well, thank you guys for having us on.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, it was a pleasure.
See you tonight, boys.
Talk to you soon.
Meet you guys.
Cheers. So Simon, we want to talk to you about. I am very curious to talk to you about your minor league career here, because, like I mentioned, you happen to play in my backyard here, a whole 30 minutes from here in Rochester, 45 minutes to Syracuse. You played with at the time, the Syracuse Sky Chiefs were the Toronto Blue Jays minor league system. What was it like playing throughway baseball here in the International League for you?
Man, it was good. It was good. What I think of Rochester is Dinosaur Barbecue. Is that still there?
It's still 100% there.
Okay.
And there's funny enough, there's actually one you would have been able to cheat for now too, because there's actually one in Syracuse now too.
Oh man. No, International League was good, man. It was AAA is a funny level, like you can see more talent at AA in some ways, like more raw talent, but then the AAA is more about like a refined game, like guys playing the game well. And so it's just a little different. And I found, a lot of older dudes, craftier dudes in AAA than in AA, but yeah, no, it's great.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's the ascent like? Like, I always think about this. What's it like going from riding buses to then like chartered planes?
Yeah. Oh man.
Because it is like that in the International League, especially here in Western New York. You got Buffalo, that's 45 minutes all the way to the one end. Then you got Rochester in the next part, that's about an hour from Buffalo. And then you got Syracuse, and you just keep going down the highway. It's all connected.
Yeah, the planes were ridiculous, man. They literally the lobster and steak or whatever you want, and like drinks or whatever. And like you got the big first class seats everywhere. And yeah, I mean, that was fantastic. It was different. The buses, the buses suck, man.
Then I think about like what it's like to be sent down again, and just like, that must
tell me about it.
Yeah,
tell me about it. Yeah, no, you know what though? Like it did suck, but here's the thing: is like in the minor leagues, you room with someone, and so like you're given a roommate. In the big leagues, you have a room by yourself, and like I was not social and wanted to go out and like make friends and stuff. And I had friends on the team, Reed Johnson and Justin Miller. Yep. A lot of good dudes. Josh, or not Phelps. Was his name Josh? I can't remember.
Yep, Josh.
Josh Phelps. What's
Catcher,
the
right? First
name?
baseman?
Yes. What's the swimmer's name?
Michael.
Oh, it is
Michael Phelps.
Michael Phelps.
I want to make sure I don't mess that up. Okay, so there's lots of good dudes there. Frank Calinato was super good to me. A bunch of good dudes, and so it was cool. And I'm not a guy to cause a problem in a clubhouse. I get along with people, but I'm also not the guy to go like, hey, let's go do this. Guys, I was kind of the guy that would just go home by myself. So that part was not fantastic, and in that way, like it's a big change to be in the big leagues by yourself to being in the minor leagues or with the rest of the minor league guys. And, it's a different deal. Very foreign to me, I'll say. It's not totally comfortable with it. But yeah, like I said,
go ahead. Sorry.
No, just being in the big leagues, how different it was and how plain it was and how like you got to see like, oh man, like there's stuff up here sucks too. And you're around dudes like at the time, Carlos Delgado was making $25 million. And I think it was $25 million a year or something, like ridiculous checks. And I was just like, wow, he has stuff that sucks for him too. Like he got off to a slow start. Like he was being crushed in the media. I was like, that sucks. And he was like hurt. He wasn't saying anything, but he's in the training room.
He had a rough year in 2004 because he was hurt.
Yeah, so he was hurt, but he wasn't saying anything at the beginning of the year. And like, he was just battling through it, doing what he can. And it was like, I don't know, man. You're just like, I don't know. It was just different to see like kind of behind the curtain and just be like, I thought this was everything. And then I get there and I'm kind of like, parts of this sucks too. It's just another deal.
Yeah. You go out there because you love the game and you wanted to play baseball. So it's kind of how it is, right?
Absolutely. Do you have, Simon, do you have one like standout moment, like where somebody got on base or something and you just looked them in the face and you were like, I can't even imagine this is actually.
You know what, man? No, like that's this. It was all like that's what I mean about the plainness of it. Because over the years, like in the minor leagues, you have all these guys. Like I went down to rookie ball and Vladimir Guerrero was there.
It's crazy.
Yep.
Vladimir Guerrero Sr. Like that guy was the best player on the planet, I think. Like for when he was around, actually, you know what, man? During spring training, so the Expos shared a complex with the Cardinals. And so during spring training, the minor leaguers come down after the big leaguers. And so I remember we did our physicals and stuff. And I went into the stadium to watch the Cardinals take batting practice. And at the time, Mark McGuire was there taking batting practice. I was like, holy shit. Like that's getting golf balls, man. Like, wow. That was impressive. So that kind of stuff impresses me. Yeah. Or the guys with the 100-mile-an-hour arms. Like it's not like it is now. Like at the time in my career, I probably only faced a handful of guys that touched 100. So
yeah, it's not like today where everybody seems to throw 100 and the guys that throw 90 are like the, dying bread, which just
underhand.
As a baseball fan, I get it. Velocity is cool.
Command is cooler.
Growing up, I was the biggest Jimmy Key fan ever. He's never threw the ball probably more than 91 ever in his damn career, and he's goofed with guys.
Like
Maddox, for example, was known for just painting corners and being that devilish on the mound. He wasn't a velocity guy. I can name a handful of guys that probably, to your point, were those 100-mile-an-hour guys like Randy Johnson back in the day. Now there's a dime a dozen.
Dude, that that whole Greg Maddux, Steve Avery, and who's the other guy there? John Smoltz. I faced actually Steve Avery in the minor leagues when he was coming back. But anyway, I'll just say that like I'm glad over time like that strike zone is gone. Like I don't know if you guys remember those strike zones that they would get off the. It was like they hit the glove and it looked like a strike, so they'd call it a strike. It's like this is not even. It's not even baseball. It's not.
Anyway, well, I think it's close. Don't worry about it.
I think that some of that Simon, we talk about this like all the time, but I feel like baseball's getting more gimmicky and it doesn't need to. I mean, it's a great sport. It's a pure sport. It doesn't need like this golden bat. I don't know if did we talk about that live or was that in the pre?
I don't remember, but that's a gimmick. And that's why I'm like, that's insane. Is it good?
I don't really understand it.
No.
So I mean, I think that, yeah. So the gist of this golden bat or what they're talking about is any player can be put at bat at any time. So like
is it just
one time a game thing is what I was told.
Yeah. One time a game.
Yeah.
Is that a Savannah Bananas thing, or is that
it isn't? It isn't in their rules, but and I'm fine for the Bananas to stay in their vein and do the stuff they're doing. And I mean, it's great for growing the game and having fun and it being on that borderline of being like professional wrestling, like where it's entertainment, but it's sports all in one thing. But these guys still have to be athletic. You can't go out there and half-ass a baseball game. Like, I mean,
Coach Rack actually just got picked up by the Washington Nationals from the Savannah Bananas.
I heard that actually.
Wild.
But yeah, and I mean, this could be a launching point for like the kid who did the backflip and made that catch. I heard he's earned himself a training camp spot with the White Sox or somebody.
Sweet.
But I mean, these are guys that probably wouldn't have been able to continue playing baseball. This guy said to them, "Hey, we want you to play. It's kind of weird stuff, but
fun.
It's still baseball." Like, and it's nice to see some of the leagues expanding into like I know the stuff in Europe and Australia and other places is really exploding. And you never had that option, did you, Simon?
No, but I will say that actually my last year was 2006. And before spring training 2007, I had said I wanted to get on with the next thing I'm going to do for the rest of my life. But I did get a call from Italy about playing over there. And looking back, like, man, I wish I had taken that opportunity because they just played on weekends and they give you a car. So it's like it would have been driving around during the week and then just play like 4 or 5 games on a weekend. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
And that would have been
a good opportunity.
That would have been good because, like, I know a bunch of guys that did that for hockey, like of my age group, that made it to, at least got drafted and stuff like that, and then knew they weren't, that they were at their sort of their minor career end, and they went and played in Europe. And I mean, they were stars because they weren't Europeans. Back then, there weren't a lot of Canadians that were going over there. And one of my, I don't know if you know Mark Finney or not, Simon, but Mark was a good buddy of mine. He went over there and he fought everything that had legs on it. And he became like a cult hero. And I mean, it was just one of those things. And the expectation was that he was going to knock guys out of their skates and fight everything that moved. And so he did it. And I think he played for 7 or 8 years over there and made a bunch of money. And like you said, they give you cars and apartments, and it's different than the way that they look at it over here in North America, where it's more of a full experience, and they want you to become a part of the community, but it's pretty cool now to see baseball, expanding out and professional. Like one of the guys that instructs at IP was playing professionally in a league in Denmark, I think he said. But the opportunities, and it speaks back to Xander and Finn. They're going to have a ton of opportunity to go and do. The guys in the Australian League are getting paid similarly to what guys are getting paid in Japan. So,
oh
really?
Yeah, and I mean, it's if it wouldn't be a terrible place to live and play baseball.
What do minor leaguers make these days? Do you guys know?
Sure, I could find that number, but I'm sure it's a heck of a hefty raise from what you used to get.
Yeah, I came across this. I was cleaning out my garage, and I pulled it out and like sent it on a WhatsApp chat to some of my buddies. And it was like, I can't remember what it was. It was like $1,300. No, Gulf Coast League was $850 a month.
Oh,
and I think they took out your hotel like out of that. And then you
a per diem.
Yeah, I guess. And then you made it to AA, and it was like $2,300 a month. and then you made it to AAA and it was like $3,000 a month, something like that. And so that's just your minor league contract is 6 years, and then you become a free agent. At which point, back in the day, you'd make like anywhere from $5 to $15,000 a month US, and that was kind of it on the minor league side.
So the team that wanted to pick me up out of college the team that wanted to pick me up out of college baseball wanted to pay me in beer and hot dogs, so I can completely get you on that one.
Well, they knew.
They knew.
I found something here.
Average salary for a AAA minor league baseball player per year is $35,800 is what it says according to the internet. So it's amazing what the jump is from. That's average salary. Obviously, the other catch on that whole thing is a lot of these kids that got drafted highly got a giant signing bonus and all these other pieces too that have changed that piece of the game too. So at least maybe you have an opportunity if you plan better to not have to worry about flipping burgers on the side. But I know that's what I would have had to been doing.
I found this. This is really interesting. So starting from rookie level, low A, high A, double A, triple A. So starting at rookie, the minimum is 19.8. That's not a lot of money. Low A is 26,000, high A is 27,000, double A is 30, and then triple A's low is 35.8.
And they're making money off you there too, especially in triple A.
I mean, you would think. I mean, I go to the Canadians game a lot, and I mean, it is packed.
Bailey's hot.
There's no way that they're not making bread off those guys.
And they're selling merch with the names in the back at that point a lot.
No, I don't. There isn't. So
much.
Now that you've said it, I don't think there's any names on the backs.
I think
if you go in and buy a jersey.
In Buffalo, they were selling the hell out of the Kevin Biggio, Vlad, Guerrero situation everywhere.
Liz, did you spend time in Buffalo?
No, I went. I mean, I've been there 4 or 5 times. I do go to Salem Field when I can. But I wish I'm in Toronto. So it's I mean, is there also a real treat to go there? I think I saw Teo when he was sent down. I've randomly been there when Guerrero Jr. was sent down, and you're right on the mesh. You can just go down there, and it's real grass, which is such a treat. It's such a treat, and you're oh, this is beautiful.
Yeah, Buffalo is actually a nice treat in the International League for a stadium because it's actually intended to be a Major League Baseball stadium for being the quasi Buffalo local here, and Buffalo's got a weird baseball history as far as those kind of things go because they were trying at the time. The Blue Jays ended up becoming the expansion team. They built that stadium as a bid to be a Major League Baseball team, and it ended up being just a little bit more north, but. The way that stadium's built was the idea is they add another level to it. It would have been able to hold the 40,000 some odd Buffalonians to be able to watch the games. But funny enough, in the old War Memorial Stadium was actually where The Natural was filmed with
Paul Newman.
Yeah. So
what's your favorite, Simon? What's your favorite stadium you ever played at?
Well, that I ever played at. There's 2 and they're very different. And I have to say both of them. One was Safeco. I don't know what it's called now. The Seattle place.
Seattle, yeah.
I think it's T-Mobile Park.
T-Mobile, yeah.
So at the time, it was the first one with the roof that moved, or whatever. I thought that was super cool. It was just a super clean stadium. Yep. And then the other one was Fenway Park because it's such a cathedral.
Did you sign your name?
I went in there.
Monster.
I think I did.
Okay, I like the way Simon is the most well-adjusted baseball man of all time. He's yeah. I mean, the major leagues were fine. Younger,
but I had
AAA was better, and I don't know. I just hang out with my kids and coach their softball.
But that's really cool. I would love to know some of those stories from wandering around Fenway Park because that to me it's every time I go, and it's very rarely, but I do have family that lives in New Hampshire. It is such a time warp just being in that ballpark.
Total time warp. So we played AA with the Blue Jays. Was in New Haven, Connecticut. At what Ivy League school is there? We use their.
So
Yale?
many Cambridge.
I think so. I know that from Gilmore Girls. Sorry.
I think it's Yale. So we played in that stadium, and that stadium was super old. And Reading, Pennsylvania is another old stadium, and so I've been around those old stadiums before, and Fenway was like that. And I just say that because the park dimensions are so weird that I can remember like being at third base and like running into the outfield. You put your head down, and I think I'm running to center field, and you wind up in like right center, and you're like, this is just weird. But the other part of that park was in center field. They had the batting cage, and you'd go out there, and it was just like, dude, like this batting cage sucks. You know, like I don't know if it's changed since then, but that was 2004, and it was just like
World Series year.
It was like one cage that was sort of full distance, and then another like half cage. It was it was what it was. But the facilities just didn't have the room for anything, new or
That's
anything.
awesome.
Yeah.
But the food was always good there.
Yeah,
I'll say that.
I love Fenway.
Fans were fun.
Yeah.
Fans were like playful and fun, not like mean like Pennsylvania fans, but like, they were fun. They tell you to F off and all that stuff, but it was kind of playful,
Yeah, wasn't being completely spearheaded, kind of like that. It was in the, I'll say, level of shenanigans, maybe.
Yeah, it's fun, I don't know. They didn't hate me so much,
I like that. Who are the most trash fans?
Oh man, I'm just thinking maybe I shouldn't even say that though. But
No,
like,
it's all good.
Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it, man.
I'm sure it's no secret that Pennsylvania's got they're tough on people. I think that's blue collar.
I feel like that's an honorable thing to say. It's like
Okay. Yeah.
If you've got to put a jail, if you have to put a jail in almost every professional stadium you have in Pennsylvania, you're tough on your on your fans.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. So, seeing we were talking to the youngsters, Simon, one popped into my mind here, just to throw an idea here, is obviously you did go through the whole gambit of the old structure of the minor league system, and I only say old because it's like been really renovated in the last 4 years, with the fact that you go from Gulf Coast League straight into like double or in the A League at this point. The rookie leagues are all gone. The Appalachian League was always one of my favorite home away from homes when I traveled for my job. I had the pleasure of going to Bluefield, which at the time was the Bluefield Orioles for a million years, but it was the Blue Jays near the end of it. And I really, funny enough, I truly enjoyed wandering around that league for the Appalachian League. And correct me if I'm wrong, I think I saw you played in Albany at one point.
Yeah, Albany,
Georgia. Yeah.
South Atlantic League. Yeah.
Same idea at that point. But what was it like playing in those little ballparks and getting to know some of the guys? And I know a lot of, per our conversation for the minor league things, families in Bluefield, West Virginia actually put up the players and had whole rooms in their houses. There's like, yep, this is your apartment. It's all yours. And they would basically just sponsor a living for a player. And it was, part of the norm.
Yeah. Clubs would have a booster club. That's pretty normal. Yeah, for sure. So yeah, like I like those small towns. Like the South Atlantic League would have cool towns. I remember Asheville, North Carolina was a really good spot.
Did you play in Vermont at all?
Vermont Expos.
Yeah, I've been to that stadium. To the Lake Monsters now. They have a great logo.
In 1996, we won the championship.
Hey,
there you go. Game on.
But hey, this is news to me. I didn't know that like those levels of the minor leagues are not there anymore. So like rookie ball, there is a Gulf Coast League still. You're telling me that?
There's still the Gulf Coast League is still the first stop after a draft, basically.
Okay, and then
those other leagues are not official Major League Baseballs anymore. The Appalachian League still exists, and my buddy Zach Helton still has a job announcing for the Bluefield team, but it is not an official Major League Baseball organization anymore. They are independent baseball now.
Okay.
You can thank our wonderful new money-grabbing commissioner for that one.
So sorry. Like, is there high A still that's affiliated ball?
Yes.
Okay. That's the
so
next
that's the major league level that it goes down to, as far as other than the Gulf Coast League.
Really? Okay.
So and correct me if I'm wrong, Jason, the Vancouver Canadians are now actually the high A affiliate for the Toronto Blue Jays now, correct?
Yeah.
Yes. So the Dunedin Blue Jays, which have been the Blue Jays in the entirety of the Blue Jays' existence, are now the first stop for A level.
Yes. Yeah. You go Canadians to
Dunedin Canadians, New Hampshire, Buffalo now.
Buffalo.
Wait, are the Lugnuts no more?
The Lugnuts are now part of the Oakland A's organization, and my friend Jesse actually got to announce a game for them at the major league level as one of their announcer. He got called up for a weekend because the Oakland A's announcer was
they couldn't afford to pay him.
That's sad.
But yeah, Simon, there's been a massive renovation over the last 4 years in the minor league structure that I love those small towns and going for the baseball. And just I used to travel for my job all day, every day, 90%. So whatever town I happened to be in, I found the ball club and I enjoyed a baseball game.
Yeah, a lot of those towns did a really good job. Absolutely.
Well, that's the whole.
It was a great place.
Yeah, that's the whole banana story, right? I mean, that whole league has formed from, like there was a team in Macon and there was a team in Savannah, and this guy was running a team in Nowheresville and saw the GM job was open and applied for it, and then read a book by Barnum and Bailey and realized that there was a different flavor of baseball down there and they could change it. And so like all those little towns that they started this thing out with, I mean, they got the benefit of seeing this thing, when it was at its birth. But I mean, I feel very lucky to have the Canadians here. I mean, I saw Kelly Gruber when he was trying to make his comeback. I can't even tell you how many Jays and guys who are on other teams that I watched play at Nat Bailey. And you're just like, you go through some programs and stuff. Like we were looking, one of my kids had a hat that was signed, and it's like, oh, that's Alec Manoah signed that. You know what I mean? Like it's things like that where you don't even realize it at the time. And so we're now trying, as baseball fans, to when we go to pay more attention to who is there. Because it's cool to watch them. It's cool, even though you don't really know them. It's cool to watch them go.
Totally. Yeah.
It's still one of the cool reasons why I still have a scorecard every game.
So,
God.
Oh, no. I was just saying I've been so impressed with Savannah Bananas. I think it's awesome. I have one of my favorite teammates that I played with is a guy named Gary Burnham. He played in Japan, and I don't know if he played in Korea or not, but he played in AAA and never got a shot in the big leagues. But the guy he's like 5'10", really built and strong, but he could like really dance like he's just awesome. And every once in a while, like I remember playing against him and with him, but I can remember like just hearing the crowd go crazy in left field, and you look up and Gary's out there dancing to the crowd or whatever, just putting on a show.
That's fun. Yeah, I feel like baseball is buttoned up right now. And so I find that and that's why, I love watching the World Baseball Classic and the Savannah Bananas, and why I'm the only person maybe alive. It's like, let's try out that golden bat rule for a year. Because did you see what Finn and Xander said? They were like, that's cool. Kids like it. Yeah. Just like a year. Meanwhile, is it stupid? Yes. Yeah. It is. Is it bad for the game?
Meanwhile, this guy's old teammate, Ricky Romero, I think you got a chance to play with, was blasting on Twitter going, you can't do this. What are you doing?
Well, everyone's saying that, and they're not wrong, but it's like, I don't know. I don't know. I like some mania going on. Something weird. Simon, have you ever asked another player for an autograph?
Oh, good one.
That's a good one.
Yeah, but not for me.
Yeah.
I would ask it's funny because I had a friend come up and say, hey, you got me a Roy Halladay autographed jersey. It was like such a big deal. I was like, did I? That was nice of me. I don't know.
That was very nice of me.
Or like,
I'm such a small guy.
Yeah, I don't know. I do these things. I don't know. I don't remember that, man. Or my wife just reminded me the other day about she got Javier Lopez autograph. He's that catcher guy.
Catcher for the Braves.
Yeah. My wife had a crush on him, and she was like, oh wow. And anyway, I got that autograph, and I'm pretty sure I got some Delgado autographs for some friends. And what's the dude, the third baseman for the Cubs? He's not there anymore.
Chris Bryant.
Yeah, we went down to spring training, and he wasn't in the big leagues yet. And I went to Marty Peavy, was an old manager that I had in AA with the Blue Jays. And Marty Peavy was with the Cubs, and I was talking to him, and I was like, hey, man, I got some friends here, and can you get a baseball signed or whatever? And he's like, yeah, I get this guy. And he's like, Chris Bryant signed it. And Chris Bryant signed the sweet spot. And I was like, that's pretty arrogant of you, no one else could still sign this ball. I didn't know who he was. And I'm like, holy crap, okay, I guess this is worth it. Marty told me, he's like, hey, that ball's worth $500 now. Get out of here.
That is still one of my favorite internet videos ever, is watching Chris Bryant try to hit off a dressed up Greg Maddux to go full circle on one of our conversations a few minutes ago, but it's still perfect stuff. That's Simon, really cool.
Simon, how full circle is this? So Marty Lean was one of your coaches for Team Canada, right? Yeah. So Marty coaches the boys and will be coaching them when they go to Arizona for the BLE tournament.
Marty's awesome, man. I was with Team Canada with him as well, with the Olympics in 2004.
Yep.
Yeah. You had a heck of a roster that you got to play with on that team too.
Other than Jeff Guile. I hope you're out there watching, Geiler.
Yeah. He's a legend, man.
In his own mind, he is.
Wait, Simon, did you do the whole like Olympic deal? Like, did you get to do like the opening ceremonies and stuff?
We did the opening ceremonies, but then part of our deal was we had to leave before the closing ceremonies. And one of the guys, yeah, I know, we left like days before the closing ceremonies. But one of the guys actually, I think his name was Eric Sear, didn't get on the plane to leave. And it was like, dude, why didn't I think of that? You know, of course.
I missed my flight.
Yeah, oops.
Yeah, the minor league season was still going on, and so that was what we were doing. We were getting back, but yeah, we missed closing ceremonies.
You don't have to answer this. You can pass this question. But was Olympic Village like they say it is? Is everybody hooking up?
There's probably some of that, but that was a weird climate though, because it was 2004, and so like it was not right after, but it was the next Olympics after 9/11, and so like we didn't even know like where the U.S. Thing was in the village, like they didn't have their flags up or anything, and there was also like I don't know what to call them, but there'd be like vehicles with missiles on them, like
so it wasn't like a fun dorm situation where you could have pajama parties.
It was. I'm sure there was lots of that stuff going on. I don't think people were too loud about it, but I don't know. Yeah,
I feel like the world's most well-adjusted baseball man who has said, I didn't really go party is not the man to answer this question.
See?
Yeah, no, it's funny. Yeah, because actually I was never into drinking much, and so people would be like, "What kind of Canadian are you?" You know, like I'm just like, I don't know. I'm not into drinking.
I'm this one.
A smart one.
Yeah, there it is. I'm just the baseball man. I crush balls. We're hitting them as far as we humanly can. So it's all good stuff. But so that was Simon. Obviously, this is usually an hour-long show. I want to make sure we get anything that you want to chit-chat on and tell the Blue Jay community. Tell me what the Blue Jay community, what you've been up to, and all those kind of wonderful things, where they can find you.
What have I been up to, man? I've just been up. I've had my head down, man. I'm just trying to, like I said, I'm trying to run a business, trying to be a dad, trying to stay married, trying to be happy, trying to go to the gym, try to eat good, brush my teeth. I don't know, man.
There you go. And then you just happen to run into this goofball in the top right corner here, and he dragged you on our show. I get it.
Yeah, it's wicked, man.
What's the business again, Sam? What's your business again?
Dynamic Tile and Stone. We're a tile contractor out of North Vancouver.
Yeah.
Nice. Great. Good deal. Is there anything anybody would like to talk about, or do we have to actually have that quick debate about the golden batter?
No, I think we can probably save that for another day.
Fine. No.
I will say this, though, for the guys who are live on watching and for anybody who subscribes, we're going to start popping on as more stuff happens. Like there's a lot of stuff that's going to happen in the next couple of weeks. Signings, weird stuff like that. We're going to be popping on. So watch for us live on Instagram or wherever
Tweeters.
Craig can tell me to go. Yeah, wherever.
Instagram's the easy one.
We just learned about Blue Sky last week. We're getting there. We are getting there.
I feel like an old man every time they talk about some kind of tech. They're like,
I'm like, there's too many things. I will say this. This is my prediction for Juan Soto. Juan Soto to the Colorado Rockies. That's my prediction.
There it is. Chris Bryant's newest teammate.
There you go. Get him to sign a ball.
Yeah, there. So, Simon, it has been a pleasure. We greatly thank you for joining us this evening, along with the youngsters that we had on the show. It has been fun.
Yeah, a lot of fun, man.
Awesome.
No, I appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Well,
I'm so far from baseball, so like anytime I get to dabble in it, it's like, oh, yeah, this is cool. I mean, like I said, I feel weird because I don't know a bunch of this stuff, but like, man.
I feel like if someone were to recognize Simon on the street, he'd be like, no, that was someone different. Like, no.
I get Mark Messier all the time, man.
Yeah, he does. He does look a lot like Mark Messier.
Yeah. Stay away from Buffalo then. That's all. Stay away from Buffalo. That's all I'm going to recommend then.
Yeah, Vancouver. He's not too popular in Vancouver either.
That whole horrible kick thing into the goal to keep us out of the Stanley Cup the 1 year. But once again, Simon, thank you greatly. We appreciate it. Blue Jays fans, thank you very much for tuning in. We saw many of you in the live chat this evening. They're on the show this evening. We didn't see you in the chat, so make sure you join us every week here, Thursday evening, 7:00 Eastern, 4 p.m. on the Pacific Coast. And we are here to talk all things baseball, all things Blue Jays, and we want to chat with you. So make sure you join us on what is the Barroom Chat for Blue Jays fans, the Jaybird Watching Podcast. Thank you very much, everybody, and we see you next week. Cheers.
Little bits.
Thank you for listening to the Jay Birdwatching Podcast. Please follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Twitch at BirdwatchingGC and our YouTube channel. If you want to support the show and get extra content, please consider joining to our Patreon at patreon.com/birdwatchinggc. Go Jays, go.
Woo!